2:03. We're starting at about 2:03, and then we'll be stopping at about 2:18 p.m. Then we'll take questions, and then Mario will be here to help answer those questions. So over to you now, Mario. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Julius, and thank you for the invitation. And I will start to share my screen. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, just let me move here. Okay. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. And well, my name is Mario Zenteno. Uh, and today I want to speak and to talk about how to lead in times of complexity, and of course, using inclusion as a strategy as an advantage. Uh, as the title suggests, leadership today is not just about navigating complexity, it's about doing so with inclusive and advantative strategies. And to see the complexity not as a challenge or as a threat, but as an opportunity. So I think that will be the first advice is to look the complexity of these times that we're living today as an opportunity. Let me, it moves my presentation. Perfect. Today we live in what is called BUCA environment, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. The challenge today that the leaders face, I will say, it is unprecedented in both an scale and pace. Right now, 70% of the leaders identify the speed of technology change as their greatest challenge. And within the next decade, 60% of the current jobs, or I will say inclusive more, 80% or all the jobs will be impacted by automation, but as well and with what we call today AI. The reality is that we cannot control the changes, but we can learn to navigate within it. So again, we need to learn how to navigate and not just to try to control the change because that's going to be impossible. We will not be able to control the change. So we need to embrace and we need to understand the change. So inclusion as a strategy. Well, first, according to diverse research, 30%, if you use diverse teams and not just diverse, but as well with diversity, 36% is more likely that you will be outperform the competitors. And I will say inclusive today could be 50% more likely that you will outperform. So, and it is not just diversity as a demographic, like age, gender, culture, ethnic backgrounds, but as well cognitive diversity, no, different thinking styles, different problem solving approach, and different mental frameworks, and as well the different experiences in the career paths, industry backgrounds, and professional journeys, and as well, of course, the ability inclusion of people with different abilities, creating more accessible workplaces. So this is a must today. And again, and we're not just talking about demographic because sometimes when we think about diversity, we think about demographic, but we need to think about experiences, cognitive abilities, how the people learn, and the abilities as well. So, well, we need to have to take that into consideration. And then the power will come not from transforming that diversity, but that power will give us innovation. The other habilitator and the other element that we need to use is the technology. And we must see the technology today as an ally, as a friend, not just as a threat. I am in the AI business, and I speak every day with different background of people. And today, the people is looking the AI as a threat. And I will say we need to see the technology, we need to see the AI as an ally today. Just, I'm going to do reference to two books that I read 20 years ago. Even I used to give away these books to my customers. The first one, maybe you read it already. The World is Flat, which was a classic. And here in this book, there was a lot of reference and examples how the technology removed barriers and democratized knowledge globally 20 years ago. And as well, economics revealed how mass collaboration drives innovation in an interconnected world. So, if we want to take advantage of the diversity as a strategy, we need to use the technology. So we can collaborate across geographic and organizational boundaries to amplify the diverse voices, which before were impossible to listen to be heard, and to create adaptive learning systems that evolve in real time. But the only way that we can do that is using the technology. The other element, of course, is language. And we need to use the language as a tool for inclusion. So right now we're working with an organization that they have a guide which is called Hand-Free Responses Guide, which is a training to provide first responders with language frameworks that prevent re-traumatization when supporting victims. So this is a guide how to handle and how to answer a victim as a first response. So what I take from this guide is that language is a powerful tool. So in this case, the first impression matter. That means initial responses can either build trust or create barriers that are difficult to overcome later. We need to create a psychological safety with the language. So an inclusive and empathetic language create environments where people and feel safe, but as well to feel that their contribution it is an authentic perspective. And then, of course, we need to respond without harm. So leading in complexity requires responding to difficult situations without causing additional damage. And of course, our words can make the difference between deepening a crisis or guiding people through it. So we have to be very conscious that our language will be able to lead the people through that crisis. So language is a very important tool. So navigating complexity through inclusion, first we need to recognize complexity as an opportunity, and I will say we need to look for it and we need to embrace it and to welcome the complexity. So I think that gives us a very big difference between trying to keep everything in control than to look for the complexity. And and I will say that is something that we do today in our company. We look to complex cases to solve. We need to deploy inclusion as a strategy, as I already explained, so we can create resilient organizations capable of adapting to rapid change. And then, of course, we need to balance the technology and with a human perspective. So we need to take that into consideration. And again, the center should be the person, not the technology. But well, we need to use it. So we need to create spaces where we can have the diversity in a daily practice and the adaptability to become our greatest strength. So here, what I would like to leave you as a message is that we need to look for complexity and we need to welcome it. Uh, I took some ideas from these two books that I think we can apply for in the leadership. Well, first, globalization and technology removed traditional barriers. So we need to integrate diverse perspectives in an interconnected environment. So that is, we need to leverage that globalization so we can take into consideration diverse perspectives like right now we're doing today. We can have this talk because of the technology and we need to embrace it and take advantage of it. We need to foster the collective learning and team empowerment. So that gives us, of course, the democratization of knowledge, and that is thank you to the technology as well. Openness will create competitive advantage, so we need to provide cross-functional collaboration. We need to co-create with communities, so to facilitate the spaces for the different stakeholders for the co-creation. And of course, we need to distribute the leadership in global networks and to recognize a leader in every member of our teams. I will say that this is very important. We need to understand that all the members of our team are leaders as well, not just the boss or the top head. Today, all the members must be a leaders, and that is something that we need to encourage to our people that they must become leaders as well, not just one person. And then, of course, to use the language, no, to build trust and psychology safety through the time of crisis. So language, of course, is very important, and we need to take that into consideration. And not just language as verbal communication, but as well as non-verbal communication. Well, practical strategies. No, I wanted to take some examples. So first, to embrace complexity. So to accept volatility and uncertainty as a constant forces rather than something temporal. We need to learn that, well, yesterday was the taxes and the tariffs. 3 years ago was the pandemic. 5 years ago was other thing, was the crisis of the 2008. So we need to learn and to accept and to welcome that maybe this September we'll see other things completely different than in August. And that is something that we need to welcome. Of course, we need to be adaptive and to learn and to build systems for continuous learning, and of course, to unlearn what we already learned. Of course, if our glass is completely full, we cannot take other kind of beverage. If our glass is full, we need to empty that glass as well. And we need to integrate diverse voices and perspective into the decision-making processes at all levels. So in this case, for example, today the companies are taking into consideration not just the employees of the company, but as well the customers, the different stakeholders of the company, of the customers, and as well the suppliers, the government. So we need to take into consideration the voices of the different stakeholders today. Uh, I will, because of the time, well, this is my last slide. So we need as well to foster collaboration. We need something that we need to promote. We need to promote hand-free communication, how we choose our language, that we can build trust and psychological safety, of course, especially during the crisis and challenges. And here we need to use the technology as well. And just to give you an example, today we're using AI simulators to teach people how to communicate, how to provide feedback, how to give positive feedback. And as well, we're working with this association. So the first responses to the victims learn how to communicate with the victims and using AI simulations. So again, we need to use technology. And then finally, so we need to embrace diversity, not just as a value, but as a strategic advantage, and to lock innovation potential through through teams, through different diversity teams. We need to combine inclusive practices with adaptive mindsets, and so the leaders can navigate through BUC environments. Of course, while building resilient organizations prepared for tomorrow's and today's challenges. And so the future will belong to the people who can transform complexity from an obstacle to a source of opportunity. So that is something that even we need to teach the next generations to embrace the challenge, to embrace the complexity. So well, thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you for the time. So this is some ideas that I wanted to share with you. And thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you so much. We I see a lot of people in the comments agreeing, saying well said, 100%, and reiterating some of the things you have said. We need to understand that our members are leaders as well. Language is very important, both verbal and non-verbal. And there's a question for you here that says, what is the main challenge as an immigrant business owner in tech? You would agree that tech is a community on its own. So as a tech business owner and also an immigrant, what is the main challenge in that space for you?
That's a long, easy to answer and a difficult at the same time. From as an immigrant, I will say, and here in Canada, we need, in my case, I need to learn to understand different nationalities and different ethnias, different, which I come from Mexico, and Mexico, I will say, we have 30% from Spain and 70% from Mexico, not to put in a way. So here we have the background of people is quite different. I mean, today, and which is wonderful as well, and that is something that I like. That today I can speak with someone from Colombia and with someone from China or Japan or Iraq or Iran, and I will say at the end of the week, this week I didn't talk with no one from Canada. By the way, I live in Canada and there's no Canadians. Yeah. Uh, so well, and I think that is fascinating, but that is a challenge as well. So you need to learn how to communicate with all kind of backgrounds. Um, and from the as a tech company, we need to adapt our solutions to the Canadian market and to that diversity. We need to adapt. So, which is a challenge because uh, we have to do a lot of changes to our platforms and to provide service here.
Mm, awesome. Thank you. All right. There is another question here that says, anything our policymakers can do to change the dynamics of inclusion or lack of inclusion at that policy level? Is there anything our policymakers can do?
At the policy level that we can, well, there is some, I mean, you can start to have some kind of quotas for some percentage in top management should be woman or with different background. I mean, you can start to have that kind of policies. But I think uh, if you start to do that mandatory, I don't know if that's going to work. I think we need to create conscious and to that the let's say the top management of the companies to understand that diversity is a competitive advantage. No, I think we,
Right.
as let's say, as a government or policies to start to study the use cases and to show the use cases to the companies that what is the advantage to have a diverse management, for example. No,
Right.
and sometimes, of course, we and you can see it, no, if I am a Mexican, maybe I would like to hire in the management a Mexican, no, which is, it makes nonsense, no. Even I will say you have to go in the other way around. I will have to hire people and to have people in my team completely different to me, because I want even someone who challenges me with another perspective and completely other point of view, completely different, no.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's a question in the Q&A segment. Um, it says, what are the headwinds and resistance you find against EDI? Um, I like the analogy she used that even nature shows us that the most beautiful garden is always the one with the most diverse plants and flowers, where you see different plants and everything just looks beautiful. And she said, even the mahogany tree in the forest knows that it needs to provide space for diversified species to flourish in, so to live for 100 years. Yet many human beings seem to be against EDI. But the main question is, what are the headwinds and resistance you find against equity, diversity, and inclusion in your line of business?
Uh, I will say the one that I is we tend to gather as a, yeah, as a team. We try to gather with people with our the same mentality, because that is a tendency. That is a tendency that we do. If I like to play soccer, I'm going to talk with people that play soccer. No, that's a
Right.
tendency that we have. So I think I will say that is one of the main challenges to understand is, if I like to play soccer, then I need to look for someone to like scuba diving, no, or someone that do not like sports at all, no. So I will say that is the because that is a tendency. That's a human tendency. If I like to drink
Yeah.
beer, I will go with someone that wants to drink beer. No, so I will say that is the to to stop that trend and to make the people conscious that you have to get along and you have to look for people with a completely different background. And that is a challenge. It's very easy to say, but it's difficult to do.
Mm, mm. So true. So true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm just checking to see um if there is anything else, any question else. Esther in the chat is saying, thank you, Mario, for your presentation. Language is an important tool for communication. It can be interpreted positively or negatively. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. This was really good. Thank you, Mario, for sharing. And we I don't see any more questions, but I'm sure people would probably see you tomorrow and, you know, grab you and have, one or two conversations and ask one or two more follow-up questions. So be ready to make new friends tomorrow.
Yeah, I will do it. I will tell my
Yeah.
wife. I will give that advice as well.
All
Yeah,
right then.
and then finally, thank you, because, well, the one that learns, I learn a lot in the preparation of this talk. So thank you for that opportunity that I could learn. Thank
You
you very
are
much.
most welcome. You are most welcome. All right then. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for your patience.